It's now the right time to buy a property. In the news, all you're hearing is that the property market is going to crash, interest rates and inflation are sky high, and there's a lot of panic and a lot of concern around the property market. I've spoken to so many people and they said that, you know what, I don't want to buy now. I want to move it till later. I'm here to tell you point blank whether or not you should buy a property in this market. Yo guys, I'm Michael. As you know, I've just recently bought my second property and I'm here to talk to you today about the property market. I've had so many people come up to me and say, Michael, I don't know if I should buy. I've got my deposit ready, or I'm looking to save up for my deposit, but I don't know if I should buy because interest rates are so high. So I thought, you know, this video will be great and timely to basically discuss all the things concerning the property market, the fears, the concerns, and basically my opinion on that as well. As you know, I dibble and dabble in property a bit. I love it. Do you know what I'm saying? I love property. So I take this so really personal when a lot of people ask me. I'm gonna try and be as open and transparent as possible. So guys, bear with me. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So I kind of broke it down into kind of three main categories, right? The first one I wanted to talk to you about today was the reason. So what is your reasoning behind buying, right? Because there's so many different reasons that people have behind buying. So this is the first thing you have to consider when you're looking to buy in this current market. Are you buying a residential property? Is it for you and your family to move out into? Is it your first home or your first time buyer? If you're buying as a residential, you aim to live in that property, right? You're gonna be in that property for a duration of times, most likely maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So changes in the market in the short term won't really affect your property going forward. The property market naturally goes up and down, peaks and troughs, and this is throughout history. So if you're looking to buy the property for a long-term investment, the facts is in the pudding, or the proof is in the pudding, whatever they call it, yeah, that the property market will continue to go up and rise and rise and rise. If you're looking to buy as a buy-to-let investor, and this is why strategy is very important, you usually have two types of strategies. You have buying to rent out, or you have buying simply just to flip, right? So if you're buying to rent out the property, again, you buy the house, one, you do what you need to do, and then you start renting it out. The likelihood is that you're not going to sell that property anytime soon. So even if the house market does drop a little bit, 5, 10%, you're just renting out, you're getting passive income, you're getting rental revenue. So that doesn't really affect your today. Lastly is that if you're buying to flip, and this is why strategy, again, I cannot stress guys, is very important. If you're flipping properties now, this is a bit different. You're buying a house, you're renovating, you're adding value, and then you're selling it on. Flipping properties are a lot more short term than it is renting or living in a property as a residential. So what you need to consider is that, am I adding enough value to the property in the short term to counteract any decreases in the property price? If the market is, you know the market is going to drop by 5 or 10%, all you have to do is add it to your calculations. Always, always, always do your due diligence. Always look at the numbers, always look at the stats, and always look at the figures. But in essence, this is the prime time to buy when there's uncertainty, when there's people concerned about the market, because this is the time that you can get a discount. But I'll talk about that later in my third point. The second thing I want to talk about is timing. People are always looking at when is the right time to buy, as I mentioned before, but you need to consider, for example, how long does a mortgage process take? So if you're a first time buyer, you know that it takes anywhere between 3, 6, or even 9 months sometimes to purchase your first home. So in that time, the market could look vastly different to what it looks like now. There could be a lot more stability, the market could look more volatile, you don't know. So you can't really anticipate or plan fully for that, but you have to also consider that. The second thing to consider when you're looking at timing as well is that, what mortgage product are you taking out? Are you taking out a 2-year fixed, a 5-year fixed, a 10-year fixed? And a prime example of this is that a couple of years ago when I got my first mortgage, I think the interest rates were like 0.5, 6, 7, it was crazily low. It was ridiculously low. When I got my next mortgage product 2 years later, it was roughly 5% or 4 or 5%. So if I fixed it when I've got my first mortgage for 10 years, all this interest rates, inflation, it doesn't mean anything to me. I wouldn't have cared. So that's what I'm talking about when you're looking at mortgage products. Sometimes it's that, how long are you going to fix it for? For example, interest rates might be very high now, but in 5 years time, they could be record low. So you might fix it for a 5-year period. You won't know all of these facts and figures, but you have to look at where you're buying according to the trends that have happened before. And that will give you a better gauge on whether you should buy or not. And lastly, the thing to consider, which is probably the most important bit, is that when are you selling? You do not lose any money on property unless you sell. So if you buy a house at one price and you sell it at another price, if it's higher, you've made a profit. If it's lower, you haven't. Obviously, there's tax and there's other things incurred, but that is the basis of it. So when you're looking at timing, you have to also look at when are you selling your property. If you buy a property now to flip and you're selling it after 6 months, It's different than when you're selling after 10 years because you benefit from capital appreciation. If you're renting out the property, you benefit from passive income, from rental income as well. So these are the things you have to consider when it comes to time. And the third thing to consider when buying a property in this current climate is the economy, right? Looking at market trends. What has happened to the property market over years? So what I did is I went to ONS and I looked at the house price index over the last, I think since 2005. So I'll put that here. And what you can see first off the back is that there is an upward trend in property prices, yeah? There will always be ups and downs each year. For example, we can see here very clearly that in 2008, which was the financial crash, the property prices dropped, right? So we look at from 2008 to 2009, we can see that the property market has crashed. However, what is very important to notice is that how long did the market take to recover, and did it recover, right? We can see that probably it took up to this point here, right here, for it to go back to pre-financial crash levels, right? That took roughly 4 to 5 years for the market to recover. So we knew that, okay, cool, it took a period of time, but it did recover. And what's the general trend? Is the property market going up or down, right? We can see point blank that the market has been going up and up and up, and it's continued to do so. If I went back 30 years, if I went back 40 years, if I went back 50 years, the gap is just greater. Do you know what I'm saying? This is what I could find in a short period of time, but the market in itself is the market, and it's shown that. But we can see if we go up to here to 2022, for example, we can see that the market went down, right? So we can see that the average household price went from just over 292,000 to 285 currently, and that's of March 2023. So we can see that the property market is making a steep or steady-ish decline down. However, we know that in the next 5 years, based on previous statistics, so I'm not going based on my own data or my own knowledge, that the house market will bounce back. How long it takes, I do not know. So bearing that in mind, and bearing the economy in mind, and bearing how the house market has gone over time, you can make that own decision for yourself and saying that, do you know what? I can choose not to buy now. I can choose to buy later. And I can give you a prime example using my own situations. I bought my house in 2020 November in the peak of COVID. And when I bought, I was warned against don't buy, the market's uncertain, people are not gonna know what's gonna happen. I don't know, you might not know what to do. What happens if your property price goes down? And I was like, listen, I'd done my due diligence. I looked at the property market and I realized property goes up and up. And please, I know there's gonna be certain people in the comments that are gonna be like, oh, it doesn't always, listen. Yeah, I'm talking as a generalized trends, right? There's certain areas in the UK that yes, they may be more susceptible to market changes and stuff like that. I'm not excluding those factors, and this is why I keep on going that first and foremost, do your due diligence, do your own research, look at previously sold house prices, use websites, use market comparisons as well, for you just to see where the market is doing and where it is going, right? You can see from what I've showed you already that the house price trend generally for the UK is going up. So you can make that decision for yourself. But going back into my example, and then I was told not to buy it in 2020. I was told, yeah, it's just too volatile. 2 years later, I bought my second property and I was able to use the equity because the property rose so much that I was able to take out money from that property to buy another property. So if I was listening to what people, the critics, and what they said about don't buy, and everywhere in the news was like, don't buy, wait until there's more certainty in the market, I would never have been able to buy my second property in the first place. It's because I use a lot of the equity, if not most of the equity from that property to buy this property in the first place. And that's what allowed me to be able to continue. And so you just have to think about your strategy, you have to think about the economy, and you have to think about property trends naturally. On this note, I want to say that I am not a financial advisor. So everything I'm giving you as a quick disclaimer is just based on my own personal opinion and experience. But these are the things that I really want you to include or consider when you're making your decisions about whether you want to buy or not. Another thing that I really want to say on the economy, guys, please, yeah, is that because interest rates are high now, it may mean that you're paying higher amounts in terms of your monthly payments. And so this is what I think is important for you to consider. How much is your monthly outgoings going to be? Can you afford it? Because this is a factor that could actually considerably affect you going forward if you're looking to buy on the property market. Because you may realize that, you know what, my monthly payments have now increased from an extra £300 or £400 a month, and it's not feasible for you to be able to keep it. However, there's a silver lining or green lining to the silver fence, or whatever they call it, yeah? And that's the fact fact that because interest rates are so high, it's not only affecting you, it's affecting the whole market, it's affecting everyone, right? And the reason why property prices are dropping is because of that. Cost of living is so high. The cost of buying goods and services have gone up. Interest rates now have gone up. So the cost of borrowing is more expensive now. So less people can buy a house at the moment. So what you can do is leverage the economy, and this is the most important thing you can do. I did this 2 years ago when the market was uncertain. I leveraged the economy and managed to get my property 10% below market value, right? You can do the exact same thing in this market now. Property prices are dropping because people are not willing to pay the asking price that people are putting out there. Why? Because it's just too expensive. It's not feasible when they're looking at interest rates. So you're able to get probably a house that's worth 300K for maybe 270, right? And we know that that's a short-term buffer on what that property is worth. We know that that property, when the market bounces back, it's worth 300K. Then when you add capital appreciation, it may grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So these are the things that you need to consider. Because there's uncertainty now, this is the best time to get a discount. Let me say that again. This is the best time to get a discount. So when you're looking at the market now, when people are uncertain, this is where money is made. Be careful, please, guys. I know I'm saying this very bullishly, but this is my approach to the situation, is that because the market is looking volatile now, doesn't mean that there's not great opportunities and great ways to buy as well. There are great opportunities, but you have to take advantage of them. When there's uncertainty, it always smells a discount. Yeah, I can always sniff it. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's a discount approaching. So what I'll say to you guys, if you're looking to buy, especially when you're looking at the economy, try your best to leverage the market today. Right? Try your best to say that, do you know what, interest rates are so high right now, I can't afford it at 300, but I can afford it at 260, right? You may be able to get 10% down, you may be a little bit down. Imagine you get that property that's worth 300 down to 260 because you negotiated. And it never hurts to try, guys. I'm telling you, I am bullish in my approach to negotiation. You never know what you can get until you ask. Because if you can afford a property at 260 and you're able to get that mortgage, you're laughing. You've got a house that's worth 30 or 40K more, and you got at a lower price, you got at an interest rate that you can afford. Going forward, you're gonna be fine. So these are the things that you need to consider, and this is exactly what I did when I bought my property. I knew my property was going to go up by the amount it did because I already knew that I bought a distressed asset. I bought an asset that was worth 10% more than I bought it for because the economy meant that people weren't buying at that time. There was fewer buyers, but there was more houses that needed to be sold. And this is exactly what's happening in the market now. The demand for houses are not as much as it was before because the supply is just so much. People can't afford to buy houses at this point in time. So yeah, guys, I know I've rambled on and I've spoke about so many things, but those are the things that I wanted to talk about when looking at whether you should buy or not. And if you have not got my answer by now on whether or not you should buy, guys, if it was me, I would jump head first, both feet, straight into the market, yeah? So please do not feel threatened or scared. The most important thing when you're doing anything in life is to do your homework. Do your research and make sure you know where you're buying, what you're buying, and when you're buying it. When you know that, you've already accounted for all your risks. You look at all these things and you know, even with that, it's okay. So guys, I cannot stress enough, my opinion for me as well, and I'm gonna say this before any critics say, oh, Michael told me to do this. For me, in this market, I will buy a house. For me, Michael Quadri, today I would buy a house in this market. I'll buy a house in the next market and every other market to come because it does not matter. Property trends have been conclusive, right? You've seen them already. It's happened before. History just repeats itself. But yeah, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've been rambling on, but you can see that I hope my passion comes out and I hope I was very clear. And if I wasn't, please feel free to comment in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, do that, all that lovely stuff as well. Guys, I'm on my road to get monetized as well. So I'm on a road to 1,000 subscribers. Please, guys, I need your support. I need your help. If you're watching this and it's been useful to you, please subscribe, please share. Thank you so much. In a bit, guys. Peace. So when you're flipping properties, is for, okay, and so, for